Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squad for boxing news and views from around the internet. Tyson Fury's first fight of his new co-promotional deal with ESPN and Top Rank is June 15th against the somewhat unheralded German fringe contender Tom Schwarz, who's unbeaten heading into the fight, 25 years old, 24-0, nothing really to lose, and in the wake of the fight between Andy Ruiz Jr. and Anthony Joshua, a question fans have been asking is, well, can this guy be a banana skin for Tyson Fury? It was one of these fights where of the three of what were regarded before June 1st as the top three guys in the division, Wilder, Joshua and Fury, generally regarded as a lesser fight compared to the others. But in light of what's happened, we saw that anything can happen. One punch can change a fight. So what of Tom Schwarz and his chances in this fight against Tyson Fury in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand? Well, what do we know about Tom Schwarz? He's currently 24-0, 16 knockouts. Here is his record here on screen, obviously taking on Fury June 15th. His most recent fight was Kristisic, which I'll talk about that fight in a moment. And it's debatable, actually, what is his best win here, because, as I said, he's a fringe contender. He's been sort of rising the levels, especially within the WBO in recent years. He's effectively been ranked within the WBO rankings for 3 solid years. He was a junior champion, and eventually he's picked up the Intercontinental Heavyweight title strap, which he still maintains. He's had that, for the best part of 2 years now. His best win may be Senad Gashi, it may be Christian Lewandowski, but those guys there, they are German domestic level at best, maybe fringe European. And that's the sort of level that Tom Schwarz has been operating at. So we knew he was a guy who was racking up wins, and he was sort of slowly raising the levels. He's 25 years old now. But how good was he? I did a video about 6 months ago and lumped him in with a whole bunch of guys. I said, are they pretenders or contenders? Because it was an open question. We didn't know. There was a number of guys floating around in the heavyweight division that have these somewhat padded records that are rising up sanctioning body rankings. But how good were they? And we weren't getting the sort of step-up fights that we were maybe expecting of some of these guys, like Tom Schwarz, Zhili Zhang, Kyotaru Fujimoto, Tyrone Spong, the sort of guys that have regional titles but not doing too much. They're sort of having tick-over fights to maintain position. And then Tyson Fury announces he's fighting Tom Schwarz. So Schwarz coming into this, is he underdone here? Has he gone through the necessary levels that would prepare him for Tyson Fury? It's a big question, an open question, and we will find out on June 15. But in his last fight against Kristisic, which was back in March, that was actually on the undercard of Ajit Kabial's last fight, Tom Schwarz took out Kristisic with relative ease, second round stoppage. A couple of things from that fight, which we can probably well expect in this fight with Tyson Fury. One of the things that ESPN, especially Tim Bradley, has been trying to talk up is Schwartz's right hand, that he's got a big right hand, and he tried to compare that right hand of Schwartz's to Deontay Wilder, saying that that's a sort of right hand that is going to help prepare him for a rematch with Wilder down the line, whenever that may be. They're now talking February, March, April, sometime next year for a rematch with Deontay Wilder. But he's got this fight in front of him, Tyson Fury. And a couple of things you may note from watching some of Schwartz's recent fights is he does have a decent right hand. It's not exactly a hammer blow, but he does mix it up. Beyond just doing a straight right hand, he actually does look to throw a looping right hand around the guard, and then he does mix it up with straight right hands down the pipe. But that is his sort of money punch, is that right hand which he tries to get around about the ear region, similar to the punch, the hook that Andy Ruiz Jr. landed against Anthony Joshua. In that same sort of region, Schwarz looks to sort of aim his shot in that similar area. And some of his other good punches, he's got a decent uppercut, he's got a decent left hook. His jab, it's just okay. He doesn't often always use it for scoring. It's more of a range finder. It's sort of sometimes pitter-patter, just throwing it out there just to blind his opponent temporarily. It doesn't usually ram it home unless he is really going for broke. And we saw in the latter part of that 2-round knockover job of Kristisic that he was actually starting to fire that jab home when he was starting to load up on his punches. But the thing is, Tom Schwarz, he can be hit here. even by a guy like Kristisic, a former cruiserweight. There were a couple of exchanges there where he was wide open, chin up in the air, and he got tagged. But Kristisic didn't have the power to really hurt him and put him in any trouble. He has been down before. He's a guy who... I don't know if we've really had the questions about his chin answered, but he's going to go into this fight with effectively nothing to lose. 24-0 heading into it. He's promoted by SES. He's fighting out of Germany for the most part. So I think a lot of fans are a little bit, they don't really know much about Schwartz and what he's about. One of the things that's brought up about him is that fight with Senad Gashi, which was April of last year. And that was a fight, pretty sort of ugly encounter, Gashi going into it, and since he's fought Derek Chisora and also Carlos Takam, and didn't put up great efforts in those fights, but he was really putting it on Tom Schwarz at times. Ultimately, he got disqualified for repeated fouls. Tom Schwarz was hamming it up, and what we saw from that fight is Tom Schwarz is a pretty decent actor. He was really hamming up some of what he was saying to the referee was damage inflicted on him by Gashi, who did deliberately use his head at times to try butt Tom Schwarz. But ahead of this fight, it's clear that he has been putting in some work for this fight. He's been training with some tall timber. Alexander Zarkozy, he's 6'9", you can see here on screen. So he's going to be able to help mimic some of what Tyson Fury does. He actually moves quite well. And also he's been training with Marius Wach, who's been in Las Vegas giving Schwartz some work. But is it going to be enough? Tyson Fury, obviously a noted boxer, a very good technician. He could probably keep Tom Schwarz at range for the most part and really jab him into submission and pick up points relatively easily off the back of his jab and just tagging Schwarz, similar potentially to the Derek Chisora rematch. It remains to be seen whether Tom Schwarz can actually close the distance, and if you've watched many of Schwartz's fights, I think an open question is the foot speed. Is his footwork, is it good enough, but is the feet fast enough? It may be a similar situation to Andy Ruiz Jr., sort of heading into that fight with Joshua. The question wasn't about the hand speed, because Tom Schwartz's hand speed is actually decent. He's got relatively fast hands, but his feet, he's a little bit plodding in that department, and that was a concern for Ruiz Jr. But if he can manage to close the distance, can he make it count against Tyson Fury, who obviously he'll be bobbing, weaving, slipping, and he'll be looking to evade whatever Tom Schwarz is throwing at him. But a good part of some success for Schwarz in this fight could be, go for Tyson Fury's body. It's going to be easier to hit potentially than the head. And he is actually a decent body puncher, Tom Schwarz. So I think he should be looking to go to the body to try slow Fury down, try to stop some of that movement. But if he can't close the distance effectively, then he's going to, really struggle to try outpoint or stop Tyson Fury here. And it's not expected that he's going to win this by many fans. People think that Tyson Fury will come through this, even if he has a few moments of struggles in this one. If he can get through with a guy like Deontay Wilder and last the distance, even being dropped heavily, especially in that 12th round against Wilder, that he should have well enough for Tom Schwarz. But because Schwarz is a little bit of an unknown quantity in some of what's happened recently, it gives pause for thought. Can this guy do the spectacular? Can he come up with something to really debilitate Tyson Fury in there? Can he land a looping right hand around Tyson Fury's guard or hurt him to the body? And we've all heard Dillian Whyte saying that he was dropping Tyson Fury with body shots and that sort of thing. So I guess, the body could be an area for Tom Schwarz to invest in if he is going to try to get into this fight, because the later it goes, I think it's all going to favour Fury, because when Tom Schwarz is fresh, he might have a better hand to hit and hurt Fury if he can manage to get in on the inside, close the distance, land something telling. But the longer it goes, I think he will gas. I think it'll be harder for him to catch up with Fury, and even if he does land something, it may not have the same sort of pop on it. And really, Schwarz has got nothing to lose here. He doesn't want to be on the end of a boxing clinic from Tyson Fury. And if it does devolve into something like that, he may get a bit desperate and walk onto something that he may regret. So if Tom Schwarz is to win, which I'm not expecting to happen, but we've just seen a shocking upset just a week or so ago. So, there is a chance. It's not a big chance for this one. I think Tom Schwarz compared to Andy Ruiz Jr., if you put them in the ring, I think Ruiz Jr. wins that one all day. But nothing is a given in boxing. We're expecting Tyson Fury to win, but it doesn't mean he will. Can Tom Schwarz Ruiz Tyson Fury? We're soon going to find out. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.